Welcome back. As we promised, we are going to shed more light on the visit of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Bani Suef and particularly to Suds al-Umara, a village in which he inaugurated a number of national projects to serve the community, to serve the citizens, education, health, the even notary houses, sir, digitalization, you name it. A number of projects were inaugurated and a number of projects were taking place and implemented on the ground already under the umbrella of Decent Life Initiative to serve millions of people. Well, to shed more light on the important visit and inspection tour, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, former Minister of Commercial. Thank you very much for being with us, Ambassador Ayoub.
Good morning to you and to the viewers.
Sir, yesterday it was not only a tour or a normal visit to one of our Upper Egypt provinces, but it was a show of mutual understanding between the political leadership, between the president and the people. It was a dialogue. It was a speech addressing the nation, tackling important issues. But before going into these details, how do you see not only the timing of the visit, but the president started with extended his condolences for those who lost their loved ones by saying to the citizens that I do feel every burden you are shouldering, by inaugurating several mega projects even via video conference. Tell me your impression regarding the visit as a whole before going into details.
It is a very positive impression about this visit, especially at this time, and what the president has said to the people, and more importantly, he has felt the pulse of the people, and it was a dialogue, not a monologue, between the people and the president himself when he goes and pays condolences and inaugurates projects and initiates new initiatives in several aspects of life of the countryside and the city in Bani Suef, and Bani Suef in the middle of Egypt. So I can say it is a show window for what can be done by the other governments, and the state and president himself is keen to see real development on the ground, and that the people are more content and more happy with what they are seeing and receiving from the government by enabling them to be more productive and more positive as far as political situation is concerned.
Yes, sir. And the president said it more than once that the Egyptian citizen is the first priority of the political leadership. And every time he inaugurates any of our national projects, he really cares about health, education, and the youth. To renovate the youth center, to inaugurate an educational entity or an educational institution like the university, for example, or new colleges, like a new hospital, very well equipped with the latest high standard technologies or medical machines or equipment. This is, I would say, is always on top of the agenda of the president. How do you see those three sectors in specific as a priority for the political leadership?
This is the right priorities as far as the countryside and in Egypt is concerned. When the president gives importance to the health and education and goes by himself to inaugurate projects in this aspect, this means that the government is keen to see real development in these basic and very important sectors of education and health. When the country, the government, the president encourages the individuals to volunteer and to initiate their own projects, and the government will support them, this means that the government is giving a tool to the people to make their life more easy and more comfortable and more productive. I always say more productive because we need productive citizen who can produce what he needs and what he clamors for.
Since you mentioned volunteers, sir, the president was keen to thank all the volunteers who are working with Decent Life Initiative. As if this is a message from the president to evaluate, to appreciate the culture of volunteering and making sure that spreading awareness with its importance is a must right now, because without our cooperation together, we are not going to achieve the success we aspire for. If you please elaborate on that.
The culture of volunteerism is basic in any community, wherever it is, whether in Egypt or overseas. I have seen a lot of volunteerism in other countries, and Egypt has a very good history in volunteerism. And when the president himself encourages and inaugurates projects initiated by the youth and the new generation, volunteers, without they are not paid. Or when I say volunteers, they are not paid. It is their own initiative. This means that we are on the right course of helping people to help themselves by themselves and building their own community. We have seen a lot of individuals putting their hands together and creating projects for production or for service or for whatever. And at the end of the day, the citizen himself, the individual himself, is benefiting from volunteerism because it's a part and parcel of the Egyptian culture some time now, and we are seeing it cemented and encouraged and, I say, bolstered by the government. This will have very positive results in today and tomorrow.
Amen to that, sir. And also, when we talk about Suds al-Umara, I mean a very small village, which really turned to be a city or a town, enjoying all these services. But how do you see the keenness of the president to go to a small village like that, to meet with its people on the ground, to listen to them, to exchange dialogue with them, and even when he was invited by one of the citizens to visit him or her at home, he immediately fulfilled or responded positively to the invitation. How do you see, sir, this mood? I mean, if you would ask me, for example, about a village named Suds al-Umara in Bani Suef before yesterday, I would never know.
Nor do I. What happened is that when the president goes to such a small village and sees by himself how the people are cooperating together to create new life for them, and he goes to the house of one of the citizens to check and have dinner or have a meal with him or have even a cup of coffee or cup of tea with him. This means that the president needs and is keen to see the pulse of the people and how they appreciate a lot of work which has been done by the government in recent years. And this by itself shows the people that do it well, and the government is there to help you and will initiate new projects, whether in Haya Karima or the other initiatives which is inaugurated by the president the last few years. And this gives people encouragement. Tomorrow will be far better than today as far as volunteerism is our ideal, and being productive and second, and being supportive to what the government does.
Sir, also among the important messages which were sent yesterday by the president, it was when he said, "I'm that close to all of you, and I know very well all the complicated life we are all living, all the hardships and crises." He even thanked all the Egyptian peoples, called us the great Egyptian people for our determination and will to overcome all crises and to face all difficulties together. And he announced a number of economic measures to alleviate the burdens or the economic strains on the Egyptian citizens. How do you see these series and these increases, whether in the minimum wage of the employees, in all sectors, approximately, even the pensioners, and the exemption of taxes, all the measures which were announced yesterday?
The 7 decrees or initiatives by the President or directives by the President were widely welcomed not only in Beni Suef but all over Egypt because it answered real needs of the people and canceled many complications which they were facing, and at the same time giving them impetus to do better as far as now they have better salary, better pension, and better health care and better education thanks to the initiative by the President, and at the same time they are required or asked to do their job in return. Let us to be more productive and more positive as far as the present and the near future, inshallah.
Sir, this does not mean, of course, that we do live in a rosy life. The President himself confessed that we are, of course, among the all states of the whole world are really suffering from a severe economic global crisis with all the global circumstances, because even the developed countries are suffering inflation. They are forced to rise the interest rates. There is an energy crisis, a food security crisis, you name it. How do you see now the awareness of the Egyptian people, taking into consideration that there is a global economic crisis? It's not only us who are really suffering from the economic point of view.
I have listened to the speech of the President, and it is educating people that they are a part of the world and they are affected by what is happening in Ukraine or China or whatever, or Chad or Niger. So we are a part of the world and we are suffering like the other countries, but our government is doing its best to make life easier or less difficult in this respect. That is very important. The people need to know what is happening around in other countries, and so that they can compare positively in a positive way that Egypt is a far better place. I will cite a very small example that growth rate in Egypt is 4.7%, while it is in Western countries is 1 point something. So it is more than the growth rate in Western countries and even in China itself. This means that the government is doing its best to create a positive environment for the people to work together and to produce better and to export and to create a new balance of trade between Egypt and the other countries.
And if you permit me also, sir, to add to what you've kindly mentioned, that, I mean, in the very same time, when there is a crisis like the one in Libya, for example, we were of the very first countries to give a hand, to support Libya. Even only few hours after the catastrophic Daniel storm, our Army Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Osama Askar, was there himself, of course, heading the assistance or the aid in military planes. And all of the Egyptians who lost their lives there, we returned their bodies to their homes, and they were buried here in the country. And there is an operation room working around the clock to follow up on the conditions of the Egyptians there, and to also help our Libyan brothers in this very hard time. How do you see the Egyptian stance, and how do you see the messages sent by this stance saying that the Egyptian role in the region can never be missed? The Egyptian role is always positive, and we remain on top.
It is vital, and the quick response or prompt response of the political leadership in Egypt to what happened in Darna in Libya, and the quick response in the sense that they sent machinery, equipment, and aeroplanes, big aero transportation planes, and they were there to help the Libyans and the Egyptians living there. And this gives impression that the leadership in Egypt is quite sensitive and responsive to developments around Egypt. Libya is not like any country as far as Egypt is concerned. It is an important country for us, our Western neighbor, and many Egyptians are working there, and the government took care even for those who were martyrs. They were promptly transported, air freighted to Egypt, and at the same time, we lent a hand to Libyans at the time of need. This cannot be forgotten by the Libyans themselves. And you have a good number of them that are living in the Western Desert and enjoying the luxury of life in Egypt. I can say luxury compared to what they are facing in Darna and other places after this hurricane. We thank the government for what it has done, and thank the army for that. It was quite responsive as far as what happened in Darna is concerned, and the Libyan people must have seen themselves that Egypt is there at time of need, and this is highly appreciated.
Even, sir, the Libyan foreign minister in a phone conversation with Egypt Radio or Radio Masr, he asked Egypt and called on Egypt to host a conference for the reconstruction of Derna with the Egyptian weight in the Middle East, and how Egypt is always a pioneer when it comes to solving a crisis like that, with the historic and the deeply rooted ties between Libya and Egypt. This was a call from Libyan top diplomat. How do you see this, and how do you see this as another proof of the deeply rooted mutual ties?
It is very important that the Libyan Minister of Foreign Affairs himself is asking Egypt to help in reconstruction of Darna. Egypt is the only country that is well poised and well situated to help Libyans as far as reconstruction is concerned, because we know the topography, we know the place, and there are Egyptians there who have experience in helping the Libyans to rebuild their countries, and Egypt is in the best situation and the best poised to help Libya in this respect. And it is good that the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Libya himself is asking, so it is official, and the Egyptians are welcome in Libya, and this will be reflected in economic life and also social life in Libya and also in Egypt.
Sir, one final question or one final comment, if I want to be more accurate. Decent Life Initiative. Since you mentioned our cooperation with our allies or our brothers in many Arab, and African countries, we are ready to exchange our experience, our expertise, as Egypt launched a Decent Life Initiative to serve more than 55 million Egyptians. We said that we are going also to work for a Decent Life Initiative in Africa and, of course, with our neighbors before going into our strategic depth. How do you see the world now as looking to Decent Life Initiative as globally one of the biggest, if not the biggest, initiative to help to improve the conditions of life of citizens during the past 3 years, as it was launched in 2019?
Egypt created a model, a role model for what can be done by Decent Life Initiative, which is successful to the extent that other countries are asking that they can replicate it in their own countries, and making benefit of the Egyptian experience in this respect. Egypt can lead, can educate, and cooperate with the other countries, especially in Libya and Sudan, inshallah, so that life is far better, and also it has strategic importance for Egypt as far as our western desert or southern borders are concerned. And Egypt is not an imperialist country, and is well known by African countries and in all other countries who are not imperialist countries. We are coming to help. We have helped many African countries even to gain their independence, and now we are helping Libya to reconstruct its economy, and it's one of its important locations in Darna. And this is a good example for other countries to know that Egypt is here to support, to help for the mutual benefit of the two or the many parties concerned.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, former Minister Commercial, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.